Hey everybody, wanted to take a moment today to address a viewer question. They saw the CZ video and they asked me my thoughts and preferences on extended magazine release buttons. So this one in particular, this is just the stock magazine release button that comes on a CZ Shadow 2. Nothing in particular special about it. Haven't had an issue with it, so I've left it alone for the most part. It looks extended. It's big enough that it's easy to grab. I wouldn't say that it's proud or large enough that I would put it into the extended category, but I haven't had a problem with it. So this is just the stock one, even though it looks aftermarket. But my opinion on extended magazine release buttons is no, don't ever use one. Ever. Never, under any circumstances would I recommend anyone use one. Well, that's kind of a hot take. Why would you think that? Well, that's because if you make this button too big when you grip the gun, I'm left-handed, but when you grip the gun, the bigger you make that button, the easier it is for you to squeeze your hand and have the magazine fall out. Have you ever, on a gun that locked back, ever overrode the slide stop? That's a pretty common thing these days on polymer frame pistols. You know, pick your flavor, but dudes getting the super high grip, they push down on it, they don't get a slide lock. That's relatively inconsequential to really anything, in my opinion. Your magazine falling out of the gun, though, that's pretty huge, no matter what you use the gun for. So I don't recommend them at all. Being a left-handed guy, you can see it's resting. My finger is under it. So the magazine button is here and my finger is underneath it, but the meaty part of my middle finger is resting on it. If I squeeze on that hard enough, when I wrap my other hand around and press on the flesh of my finger, that's enough for it to fall out. This one is small enough, just a standard Atlas button or a standard button on most pistols is not big enough that that's an issue for me. Now I'm doing it on purpose there for demonstration purposes. If it gets bigger, it does fall out. All right, so I had an Infinity gun that I don't have anymore, but I had an Infinity gun that had a tasteful, it's very similar to this one, almost. It was actually probably smaller, but it had an extended button on it. I dropped enough magazines out of that gun that I took it off. It was almost a crime to do to a gun like that because it looked nice, but it didn't look nice when my magazines fell out in the middle of the stage. On the right-handed side, it's kind of an innocent thing to think, like, hey, I can't quite reach this button with my thumb without breaking my grip. If it was just a little bit bigger, that would be easier, and that would be a way for me to save some time, right? Well, if it's a little bit bigger, when your thumb's there, enough meat of your thumb is going to be there that you can push it, you can squeeze it with your grip, and it will fall out. All right, and that in the game or in real life is unacceptable. So never, ever do I recommend using one of these. The exception to that would be, I have encountered one person, really good friend of mine. I don't have his permission to use his name on here, but a very prominent person in our circle. He has a thumb injury. I don't know if it's an injury or a handicap, and I forget exactly what it is. Similar to his pork allergy. I'm a horrible friend. I always forget. But he does. I don't think he can move this knuckle this way. He can move his thumb, like he has a functional thumb. But when it actually comes down to like getting the work done with that knuckle, he can't do it. And so he's like, I need one. He's like, I wish I didn't need one, but I need one. And I'm like, okay, I'll give you a pass. Every other single person I've ever seen use one of those things has dropped magazines on the clock. I've even recommended to people in our local club, and they're like, oh, I'm going to put this on. I'm like, don't do it, man. Don't do it. You don't understand. I'm special. They put that thing on there and the mags start falling out. And I'm like, hurts me more than it hurts you, bud, but I told you so. So, no, not ever do I put an extended anything on my magazine release. I get the technique wise to get my hand in the position to push it, and I work from there. So as my advice to you, because that's why you're here watching this video, I would not recommend putting any mag extended button on anything ever. You can thank me later. See you on the range, guys.